Guys, do you ever struggle to stay focused? Maybe you find yourself procrastinating throughout the day. Because I've done it too, and I have found the secret weapon to kick that habit, Thesis. Thesis is a brain-boosting supplement made with natural ingredients, proven to speed up mental activation, sharpen focus, and help you to power through your to-do list. I'm a busy guy, but Thesis has been a game changer for me. It keeps me energized, focused, and present, especially when I got a lot of things on my plate. Here's how it works. First, take a 3-minute quiz at takethesis.com. Thesis will then match you with a nootropic blend that fits your brain chemistry. Thesis offers 6 unique blends to help you find the best fit for you. Clarity, creativity, logic, energy, motivation, and confidence. You're going to start with a starter kit of 4 blends to test over 4 weeks. This will help you find the one that makes you feel the most productive and balanced. I found that clarity and energy are the blends for me. My favorite part about Thesis is all of their products are non-GMO, vegan, and gluten-free, so you can feel confident that what you're putting in your body is clean and safe. For a limited time, you can save $60 on your first subscription order if you use the code Chael. Head to takethesis.com and use the promo code Chael. Maximize your mind with Thesis today. Max versus Ilya for the featherweight championship. BMF, not on the line. What do you make of that? Now, the BMF was never going to be on the line. Like, that was never a part of it. I don't know if the BMF has a lineage. I know that we have wanted it to have a lineage, but in fairness, we've wanted that because we have very little rules as it pertains to our title. Like, one thing from 1993 until present is we're going to fiercely adhere to whatever rules we make up on the spot. So we're kind of yearning as an audience for some type of uniformity, including with our championships. So a lineage to the BMF seemed pretty cool. But the other side of it is to have the ability to make a BMF, to make a certain fight a BMF, almost like yesteryear's super fight belt, if you'll recall. Like, there's something about that as well. And Justin Gaethje was the first BMF to defend the championship, which is what gave us the idea that it would have a lineage. But let's just say it goes the other way, which is it's a one night, it's got to be assigned, just like the super fight, doesn't carry over. Let's say that we could see where Justin Gaethje would have been selected twice, right? We can see where Dustin versus Poirier, but we could also see, or Justin versus Poirier, but we could also see where Justin versus Max. And I believe it does not have a lineage. I believe we have that answer. Now, we're always going to look to history and say, well, what happened before? So you had George Masvidal, who retired from the sport on 3 losses, and he retired from the sport, the BMF champion, because that title was not up in any of the matches that he lost. You might think it's a technicality, but that's not Masvidal trying to cling to something he didn't earn. The rules are the rules. The belt was either up or it wasn't. And it wasn't. So you now have Max going to take on Ilya. And there is a couple of questions there. Why would the belt not be up? I mean, how about that? Is Max the BMF champion? Well, again, all I can do is go to history. And on George Masvidal, the answer was yes. So it was not a one-night thing. George was able to bring that belt places, and they would acknowledge him as the champion. But when he fought, it was not always a title fight. So that's where it gets a little bit complicated. If it's a one-night thing, let's go and look for a couple of BMFs. Let's go see if we can get this done. Kayla Harrison, Amanda Nunes, boom. Let's go do the first women's BMF. I mean, I'm just throwing things at you, but we do kind of have to know. So let's look at why we would not put it up. First off, it's a title. If you are defending your title, you now get into legal territory that changes contracts, quite literally. Title matches are different. They're also different with commissions. They're different within the rules. But if we're doing a title match anyway, so we're going to go the 5 rounds and we've got to make scratch weight, why wouldn't it just be up? We've got the guys. Why not just put it up? Well, my guess is something along the lines of how effective it is for marketing. So if you had both belts on one guy, right, like the featherweight title is good for marketing. Max versus Ilia Topuria is not a fight that you guys are dying to see. It's not a fight that you guys have ever been dying to see. It is not a fight that Max worked very hard to go and get. But Max returning to featherweight to fight for the championship definitely is. The potential round robin of Volkanovski, Topuria, Max definitely is. Topuria became the #1 contender in a way that nobody else had. He was the one guy that made it to the top and made it to the title fight opposite Volk that did not have to go through Max. When nobody could get through Max, it became pretty clear if we want to shine a guy up and get him to a championship, keep him the hell away from that guy. We're going to make things even easier for you. We're going to book the guy somewhere else. We're going to get him out of the division, even if just for appearance reasons, so that we can get you in. Well, that story all of a sudden is much different. And while you might have thought that I just stated the obvious, I agree. It is pretty obvious. But let's not forget the marketing effects that belt has. We agree. There's something that matters about the belt. So once we establish that, then we can also establish how coveted the BMF is. Not to mention how special the 3 BMF fights we've ever gotten are. To waste it or to use it in something that doesn't get a bounce, like in amateur sport, high school on down, it's a very cool thing to go out there and collect trophies. But in professional sport, what's the difference? Money. What do you think professional means? It means you get paid. So if we're admitting that it's money, then we admit the importance to marketing to help to draw that money. And if it all goes to the same guy, it's not overly helpful. So that would be a massive reason. Then contractually and from a legal standpoint, the parts of Max's contract that would activate if he was defending a title. I mean, I'm just sharing for you, like, there's a lot of moving parts. It's not as simple as just put it up. Like, I had asked him, what if Max puts it up? What if Max comes forward, he brings the belt to the press conference, and says, no, this is for the belt. Well, that would be for a tangible object. But the title must be done contractually. It has to be, the title can only change hands. That becomes a legal term that the commission, amongst the many things that they do, will oversee and enforce. If a fight happens and it's a title fight, by example, and they decide they don't like the outcome, so the title stays with this guy, the commission will enforce. They will let you know, no, you may give him a belt if it's your belt. You may do anything you want. You may even say it, but it isn't true. He has the title, and there's different ways that he will be treated if he's a champion, particularly if he's defending a championship. And while we go round and around on this, before we come to the conclusion that it was the wrong decision, I'm not really sure that you mean that. I'm really not. I really wanted a lineage for BMF. I admit that, but I'm now realizing something else about myself. I wanted a lineage just because I wanted clarity of some degree. I was yearning for some type of boundaries. But now that we can have it, I'm not positive that is what I want. And I definitely don't want an undisputed champion to also have a BMF title. And you must understand, if Max was to lose, but remain BMF champion, right? Just like George Masvidal, I mean, that would have been a pretty tough sell. George and Colby easily could have fought for a BMF title, but they didn't, and George then stayed champion. So George now in his next fight is still the BMF champion, and George versus Gilbert Burns, just for example. 2 down the road, but the point is the same. I don't know that would have been the fitting match for a BMF. So I don't know that we want that lineage. I like the super fight belt. I like the idea of super fight. I like champions. I like title defenses. I like all of these things. But I don't know how much I believe that Justin Gaethje did defend the belt. I don't know if I believe that. I know that's what we were told, but I had lost to, or rather, I had beaten a gentleman that was world champion. And the day before the fight, it got moved to a non-title fight. That gentleman, Paulo Filo, gave me the belt, and I appreciated that, and that meant something to me. But he didn't have the ability to give me the championship. He didn't have the ability to give me the title. He could just give me the belt. And there's a meaningful difference. And the reason that I don't know that I believe that Justin Gaethje defended the BMF title as much as we made a BMF title fight and it happened to be with the same guy, purely is tied in to the weight class. It was a 5-round title fight. We were all told that. But when we got to the weigh-in, they did not have to make scratch weight, which is absolutely required by law for a title fight. Go ask Charles Oliveira if you can show up for a title fight slightly overweight. So it's tough, right? It's a game of semantics, but it's fun. It's one of the reasons I like the belt. I'm glad that he's not defending. I'm glad he's not putting it up. I'm glad the next time we see a BMF title, it may not even involve Max. As bad as he is, I'm just sharing for you that we can make it with other guys. There's some rough boys out there. There's some rough girls too. So to have the idea and the concept that we can assign it, we know it when we see it. As much as I resisted that idea, and as much as I would love the idea of a lineage, the more that I'm looking at it, the closer I look at it, I'm not certain that's the right answer. As much as finding the right two fighters and putting a spotlight on that fight and capping the event off with a BMF title.